It's like use AI to do what humans are uniquely skilled for and allow them to spend more of their time creating actual value for customers.
And if you're doubling their quota in a year, you should probably be transparent about how they're getting paid, right? So, like, I just think it's going to force some of the transparency that hasn't been there in the past because of what we're asking reps to do.
I think this is a very good point. I have a question for you, Ryan, regarding that. Because you mentioned a lot of stuff that is our focusing on the reps and how you communicate with them, how you see AI helping you to facilitate some of these conversations about how I'm getting paid, how my comp plan is really designed, powering this by AI and your library that every company should have, right? Around like how you structure these things. I mentioned earlier, like how much additional work it requires to answer these questions. So the AI is a great catalyst here that can step in immediately and just explain that in a split second. Connecting this with a CRM, connecting with a comp plan itself, design, and the library, maybe a few questions that, are gathered from other conversations that AI already had. Do you see that this being a key element for you and your the product development in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think like what we're trying to do is give the rep, and I think I talked about this a little bit before, but give the rep the ability to say, like, how do I earn here? Like asking the AI the ways in which they earn their full OTE, using their past data. Hey, historically, 15% of your deals are multi-year and your average contract value is 35K and all these sorts of things. We project you'll earn this. We think you'll variably because tools like Gong already project how much a rep is going to close, right? And forecasting tools project how much it's going to close. Why not then just take that and project how much you think they're going to make based on their comp plan? And then it becomes a question of, okay, well, I'm on an 100K base, 100K variable. Quota path projects I'm going to make 65K variably this year based on my mechanics. What are the ways in which I can get closer to 100? Well, historically within the team, we've seen a range of percentage of multi-year contracts be between 20 and 60%. So if you could like move up, you're below the leaderboard in terms of percentage of revenue in multi-year contracts. And so you start to see like a rep being able to, in the same way they play with like a Gong forecast, they can start to play with a quota path forecast to understand their best path to earn. Now, the logic is even more complex there because you have to have an individual rule set for them, on how they earn paired with the data. And that's where AI becomes a really powerful tool for a rep and for explaining how a team member earns money.
My next question for you is do you see that there is a future for RevOps to create the system architecture where AI from one system talks to another AI from another system?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, there's no reason not to. I mean, I think that orgs will be required in the same way that they have open APIs to have open LLMs that people can talk to. Absolutely. Businesses are not going to be comfortable with like their data in like walled garden LLMs. I don't believe. And we do this a lot ourselves, right? So we, tap into the Gong API to pull like transcripts and understand how calls are being best used and then run it through LLMs to process what are the themes that we're seeing in terms of closed lost ops. And so I think the power for the business is going to be the quality of the LLM to solve the problem, but then the customer is going to be able to interact with those LLMs and have them talk to each other. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I see that a lot of these systems already, like you mentioned, Gong and others are trying to build that capability, but it has to go a little bit further in order to, take a full credit for it, right? And I think that's the moment when, okay, now we have these API like AIs and then start talking to each other, connecting and quickly doing that work for you. And then going back to our earlier point, the end user, like Rap, it will greatly benefit from it right away, right? The readout is much better. That means the path going forward, quota path, is looking much better for you as well. So I think it's a very interesting space that we're going to experience a lot of shakeup. When I think about setting up the next revenue operations organization, I keep that in mind because that is coming. That is coming.